and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie. I am the head of publication here, and I'm thrilled to bring to you today a deep dive on RingCX, the hallmark CCaaS platform of RingCentral. And joining me for that conversation is Andy Watson, a senior product marketing manager at RingCentral. Andy, thanks very much for joining me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Ready to get out to Las Vegas for CCW and see people and hear what they have to say about what we're announcing. So really excited.
Yeah, and it's been a really it's what I'm looking for. It's been a really optimistic start for the RingCX platform. Obviously, it's been around for I think about 18 months since
Yep.
it's reached general availability. From my stats, I can see that it's well over 1,000 customers already on the platform. I don't know
Mhm.
if you could maybe just start by giving us an intro of kind of how the market has reacted since that general availability.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back, I've been working on RingCX for the better part of 2.5 years now. So getting it to market, and what we were looking at was we were looking at what the market had in terms of contact centers, and we saw a big gap between what was available for businesses that really didn't need a huge contact center, and then we talked to a lot of customers when we mentioned contact center, and they said, well, that's not me, because they picture a contact center still as a place
Yeah.
where you've got hundreds and hundreds of agents sitting on the phone talking to customers all day long, and they would say, that's not my business. We've got employees that are talking to customers, but we're everywhere. We're not. We need something that we can deploy in weeks, and typically contact centers. Um, Simplicity has not been a word that most people use to describe them, right? They were really challenging to set up, um, sometimes challenging to use. We're talking 6 to 9 months, sometimes even a year, to get those set up. So what we wanted to do with RingCentral was take, let's take the core elements of what a contact center is, a customer engagement platform, but let's simplify it,
Mm.
and let's give customers something that's easy to set up, easy to use, but without sacrificing, like, the omni-channel capabilities that people want today, without um, you know limiting it in terms of AI, right? The biggest term of our lives right now is AI, right? So when we launched, I think it was November of 2023, we had 160 customers, and it's been fun to watch it, every quarter just grow, pretty much 50% growth every quarter, and now, we announced a few weeks ago in our earnings call over 1,000 customers. So it's been really exciting to be on the ground floor and just see the momentum grow, and see what our customers have to say. It's been I do a lot of conversations with our existing customers, and what do you like, what can we improve, and overwhelmingly the sentiment is positive from the customers.
Mm. Yeah, and it's I imagine a lot of those customers will also be coming from obviously RingCentral is a Gartner Magic Quadrant leader in UCaaS, so there's probably a lot of customers coming in from your UCaaS space, I imagine. But that ability to possibly combine CCaaS and UCaaS, and obviously have RingSense as well, the conversational intelligence.
Mhm.
While it's maybe a CCaaS solution that doesn't promise all the bells and whistles, there is a lot of potential to take this forward. But now, what are you really kind of seeing as your target market for RingCX?
Yeah, what's interesting is, I look at our customer base, and you look at our messaging, and when we launched, it was kind of better suited for small businesses, but where we are now, we've got customers with 500 seats, we've got customers over 1,000 seats. It's really about what are the problems with customer engagement that you're trying to solve, and we're innovating at a pretty, substantial rate to meet the needs that customers have now, as well as, with an eye to the future on what are the problems going to be in 6 months from now that we can try to address. And so businesses of any size across every industry you can think of. Obviously, healthcare, retail, financial services are key. We've also expanded it from U.S. and Canada to UK and EU to Australia, New Zealand to India, um, and we just continue to see great momentum here.
Mm. Yeah, and I mentioned earlier that synergy with UCAS and the conversational intelligence RingSense as well. Yes, there's also CPaaS as well that RingCentral has in the back end. And as you mentioned, in the future, that could potentially be quite big in terms of brands looking to pivot more into proactive customer service. You can track signals with CPaaS. You can connect your RingCX to other systems with that CPaaS component and potentially track signals in those, which suggests there's an issue with the customer, and then send them proactive alerts. Kind of get ahead of the customer too. So there is, although what as you mentioned, it was kind of perhaps it's marketed as not a bells and whistles contact center. There's a lot that you can do with it, and I don't know if there's any particular features that customers are really enjoying at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say the number one feature, besides just the core capabilities that customers are really excited about, is AI quality management. So you mentioned RingSense, which is our AI platform for conversational intelligence, and we're figuring out new ways to use that when it comes to customer engagement. So quality management's been around for ever, but it's always been built around a team of analysts reviewing a handful of calls, looking at transcripts, taking notes, at best 1 to 2%. So you're basing your insights for what's working in the company, what's not working, which agents are our top performers, what does the voice of the customer look like. You're basing all of that on just this subset, and what about the rest of this? So what AIQM is doing is it's really automating that process, where we've got a couple of different ways you can go about it. So we've got, we started with an out of the box AI model of looking at like 8 dimensions that we see. Okay, this is what a good call looks like. Things like how many filler words are you using? Are you talking more than the customer? How long are you giving the customer to respond before you take over the conversation? Things like that. And so for a lot of customers that quality management was new to them, that was a game changer. So now at a glance, I can go and say, okay, this call was a 10. This call was a 5. Okay, this is one I need to pay attention to. Otherwise, it's just guesswork. Then the next thing we did was, for customers that maybe they already have a QM process, they have scorecards that they're using, let's automate those. So we're making it flexible for businesses who depending on where they are in their maturity to get those insights, and going beyond call scoring. It's looking at things like what are the root causes of customer frustration. What are the most common objections that come up? Okay, well let's take a look at that. Instead of guessing what we think customers are upset about, let's identify what are the top 5. Now let's dive into those calls and let's see how agents react to that, or competitor mentions. That's a huge benefit for businesses to know what are our customers not just saying about us, but what are they saying about our competition, and more importantly, how do agents react to that? Maybe we need to look at our battle cards or our talk tracks for specific competitors and be able to answer those questions more effectively. And so AIQM, over half of our customers are adding that on to RingCX. So we're really excited about where that is going. That conversation intelligence to really get a better feel for how are our agents performing. So we're eliminating guesswork and blind spots. And similar to that, and we announced, I guess it was about 3 months ago, a capability called interaction analytics. And that's kind of using RingSense the same way as AIQM does, but it's looking at it in terms of what does the voice of the customer look like, right? We all get customer satisfaction surveys after a call, right? we're sorry we've wasted 15 minutes of your life trying to solve this issue. Now, if you don't mind, stay on the call, for a little bit longer and answer this 5-question survey. And let's be honest, how often do we do that? Very rarely. And what we hear from our customers is, look, even the data that we get, it's either the people that really love us or really hate us.
Yeah.
So you usually think of a bell curve distribution for results. This is almost a U shape, where it's really hate, really love, and then in the middle there's nothing. So again, we're basing customer satisfaction on a tiny subset of data. Sometimes it may just be flawed data. How many times do we fill out a survey? I know I do it sometimes, where it's like, hey, fill out this survey and we'll give you a 10% off your next order. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Don't even read the questions. So you can't trust the data. So what Interaction Analytics is doing is it's using RingSense to say, hey, the questions that we would normally ask in a customer satisfaction survey, let's analyze all these calls and find those answers and give you a predictive CSAT value. So that's one that, again, very similar to AIQM, but focused on customer satisfaction. That's one that we're really excited about for this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff there. I mean, if I go back to the quality management, it's great that you're talking about that, because a lot in this of the conversation we hear in the space is about contact automation and how many kind of sort of contacts can we contain with the development of agentic AI. How much work can we maybe how can we even reduce our headcount in the contact centers? But with that also comes a huge change in the agent role as well, because while in some cases, unfortunately, there might be less, they'll be doing a much more difficult job. And how can we give them the support? And it is through those tools. I think that contact centers are going to have to start kind of upskilling their agents and kind of transforming them into not necessarily service teams, but even like sales and marketing reps. Even I think that's a fascinating conversation, but I won't sidetrack us anymore. I think you mentioned at the start of the call there's also CCW coming up, and I'm sure you'll have lots of exciting announcements. And by the time this goes out, this probably will be CCW week. I don't know if you can maybe then kind of share some of the latest additions that you'll be adding to the RingCX platform.
Yeah, so I just mentioned Interaction Analytics, which we announced a few months ago. It's going to open beta now. We have several customers that are using that, and the feedback is overwhelmingly positive. Another feature that we announced, I guess it was back in August, was Agent Assist. And there are a lot of pain points that we can look at from the life of the agent. One of the ones that we identified was, number one, I've got, agent turnover is very high. So how can I bring a new agent in and, give them the tools they need to serve customers quickly? Because as a customer calling in, I don't care if it's your first day, your 100th day, you need to answer my question quickly and accurately, right? And that's just what customers feel. So the life of the agent is, okay, I'm being pressured to solve this issue as quickly as possible, but also solve it accurately. Sometimes those don't go together. And what they have on their desktop is, they've got their training guide out. They've got troubleshooting manuals out. They've got one customer we talked to said, any given time they would have up to 27 different documents open. That a customer question comes in, they're like, okay, let me try to find it. And from the perspective of the customer, you put me on hold, that's bad. I hear you typing in the background trying to find the answer, that's bad. You transfer me, bad. You bring in a supervisor, it degrades the trust of the customer when the agent can't answer that question quickly. And so what Agent Assist is doing is, our approach is, all this content that you would be manually searching, let's intelligently organize that with AI. Not building out cards for specific keywords like traditional Agent Assist does, but just give us your content, and we'll automate the rest. So what Agent Assist does is during those calls, it listens for customer questions. Oh, what is your billing policy? What's your return policy? Hey, here it is. Let's pop that up directly to the agent. If they need more context, here's a link to that asset. And we're reducing the stress on that agent significantly. Some of the metrics we've gotten from customers is from 15 to 50% reduction in handle time. Fantastic. Something like a 30% increase in first contact resolution, meaning I, as a customer, don't have to call back for the same issue over and over again. Employee satisfaction goes up. Training time goes down because now you can bring in a new agent and have them ready in days instead of months. So Agent Assist, we're excited that that's now generally available to everyone. So that's a huge benefit for businesses who have that pain point of agents that just they don't know where the answers are, or we're just trying to accelerate those workflows for helping them find those answers. And that's really the key for AI. It's looking at specific pain points and figuring out the best solution for that. I think a lot of times businesses they get this idea that they need AI, but they can't really say what they need it for, right? They just know that everyone's talking about it. Everyone, all of our competitors have it. We need to go get some. But our approach to AI has been, from the start is, for specific pain points along the customer journey. So, whether it's, virtual agents for pre-call, agent assist. We also have supervisor assist to help supervisors understand which calls they need to be paying attention to. AI quality management, interaction analytics to help you understand, agent performance and customer sentiment. And so it's really, just helping people, accelerate workflows, automate mundane tasks with things like AI summaries, augmenting workforce. It's interesting that, all the talk about AI, it's only useful if it's solving a challenge that a business has.
Yeah.
And so that's what we try to reinforce with our own teams is, look, if a customer has a problem with X, this one is not a good solution. This is a good solution for that. So it's really about just listening to what customers are challenged with and, providing the right solution. Now, one feature that's not AI related, and it's weird to talk about a feature that's not related to AI these days, is a feature we're calling customer journey analytics. And you mentioned RingCentral. Our bread and butter is unified communications, right? We've been in cloud PBX and UCaaS for 25 years. And so RingEX is our flagship product. We have RingCX, we have platform, we have events. One of the challenges that our customers talked about was, and when we talk about unified communications and contact center, putting them together, is one of the key use cases is, okay, if I call into a contact center agent, they may need the help of someone that's not an agent. And for years we've talked about shared presence, directory, being able to transfer a call to a back office worker. The challenge has always been, okay, but if I'm a supervisor and I'm trying to track that customer journey, all these segments, if we're transferring between systems, I've got to go here and I've got to go over here. So how can we bring those together into a single place? And so what customer journey analytics is doing is it's taking all those call segments, whether they started in RingCX and went to RingEX, or if they started in RingEX and went into RingCX, and it's putting all those segments together so you can really track that customer journey. So you're not reviewing multiple call recordings in multiple places. You're not, trying to, figure out where these calls went. And the benefit is, we're trying to help identify bottlenecks. Like, how many calls are we having to transfer? Okay, is there a knowledge gap that prevents us from fully containing those calls? Because ideally, we don't want to transfer any calls. From the customer perspective, I want to talk to one person and I want to get it done. So customer journey analytics we're really excited about. That's really strengthening the integration between RingCX and RingEX.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's an interesting point. Swarming case is not necessarily a new use case, but that has been a problem tracking those customer cases as they've gone across the business. And I think that's a really interesting example of innovation. As you say, it's nice for it not to, especially to be about AI, considering all
Mm-hmm.
the announcements that I'm sure will come out at CCW
Mm-hmm.
next week. But maybe just to finish off, Andy, it's been a really great conversation. But I didn't know if you could maybe speak a little bit to the broader vision that RingCentral has for RingCX for the near future.
Yeah, sure. So I think we're moving towards a future where AI is agentic. Um, when I started at RingCentral 3.5, almost 4 years ago, we were still kind of in this era of rule-based systems. When it came to AI, you thought of a chatbot that knew 5 menu options, and once you were outside of that, you were out of luck. And so we kind of evolved to conversational AI, where it's not quite as stringent. There's some limited automation. We started doing things like call summaries and transcripts. Next, what was it, 2 years ago? Generative AI became the big thing, right? With Chat GPT coming and making AI. I think that's the moment it made AI real
Mm.
for everyone. That now, I can use this more in my personal life, and so we're, having a more human-like experience, but still not quite there in terms of full automation. That's where we're going with agentic AI, and we haven't mentioned AI receptionist or AIR, which we launched about 4 months ago, which incidentally also has over 1,000 customers now, and so that's an AI phone agent that really helps businesses have natural conversations with their customers without requiring a human on every call. So we can have AIR intelligently respond to questions, route calls, help customers with setting up appointments. Agentic AI is where AIR is kind of our initial step in there, and the future is where we're going there, where we can fully automate workflows. It's not just automating the simple task or automating a couple of things here and there. It's really having a digital employee that can fully automate a customer workflow. It can take action on its own and really orchestrate a better experience end to end for the customer. So as we progress through, this is 2025. Wow, I had to think for a second there. 2025 in the future, that's where we're going to really unlock productivity with a team of AI agents that businesses can help. Not just help customers with their things, but really offload the mundane from humans, so that then we as humans can focus on the bigger challenges or the more complex issues.
Mm. Yeah, and again, I think there was lots of good food for thought there. I mean, particularly from it comes back to my point earlier, actually, around the Ring Central sort of secret sauce and the CPaaS that's on the back end, how that might even provide a framework for AI agents to run across in the future. And it's going to be exciting times for RingCX. It's been great to have this chat with you, Andy, but I think that's maybe a great place to end it. So thanks very much for joining me today. And also thanks to everybody for watching too. Bye for now.